Subtle skills, big results.
Welcome to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Welcome back once again to the Ninja Selling Podcast. Matt and Garrett are back with you again. Super excited to be sharing time with you, energy with you. And with that being said, Matt, we've got a great topic today, but I want to just announce real quick, if you want to know more about what we're talking about here, where this all comes from, ninja selling specifically, go to ninjaselling.com. You can learn about all classes, information about what's offered there. If you want to learn more about the coaching program, if you're sitting here and saying, gosh, I would love it if I had somebody one-on-one to walk the path with me and help me understand how to implement Ninja in my business at the absolute highest level you can possibly implement it, we have Ninja coaches standing by. We are here to help you if you need help. We also have mastery classes happening out here right now. And so if you're interested in that, that's a 3-month commitment class every 2 weeks with a large group of ninjas around the United States to help elevate your business, fine-tune certain topics. You can go on there and pick your different path that you want to walk on, again, with a nice big group of fellow ninjas. With that being said, Matt, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Garrett. Man, what a good morning it is, too. I mean, it is hot, dude. I mean, it is hot everywhere, too.
It is.
But I kind of like the heat in a way. Like, it feels good. It exhausts you in a way that is uncomfortable. But then when you recover from that, you're like, wow, okay, I feel good. So
I love the heat, too. Northern California, though, we've been having these evening lightning storms that have been coming through.
Oh, we've been getting some of them too. Well,
which it's like, oh, look at how pretty it is. Oh, look.
Not a problem for us, but I understand the fear out in California with that.
It's like, look at how pretty it is. And then we have this amazing app called Watch Duty that sends this certain tone off when a fire within like a couple hundred miles happens from us. And yesterday, like the lightning strike happens at night, smolders throughout the evening, heat picks up to about 110 in the afternoon, and then all of a sudden my phone's like boo, 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 like, and the entire North State from me to the coast right now has fires everywhere, and we've got another lightning storm coming through, I think, tonight. So yeah, I love the heat. It's been great, but man, we got to get through the next month because it's going to get real interesting really fast in Northern California.
Oh gosh. Well, I hope that it doesn't cause any problems, that anything that burns is supposed to burn, you know.
Oh man.
Sometimes a forest needs a little regeneration, but no neighborhoods, none of that stuff.
Take the forest. But we've got, again, a great topic today, Matt.
Yes, we do.
I'll let you run.
Oh, I got to run with it. Oh, okay. Well,
sure, run.
So been seeing a lot of advertisements for things lately. I mean, this is the time of year where we see these things, and this isn't just real estate specific, and I know there are, well, I'll caveat it after I talk about it because
do you want me to lead this one in?
I don't want anybody to be upset. These challenges, make a certain amount of money in a certain amount of time, or you too can have this type of month or whatever. Or I made, you hear people talk up on a stage at a conference who are like, yeah, well, I made, $1 million in one day, or I was able to earn this from one deal. And you can too. All these things that are around, in my opinion, preying on people's scarcity mindset to have money right now, and then providing a program which might be good. And so this is my caveat is I know there are good people out there who put together programs like this with great intention. And I'm not saying that you're bad for doing these things. However, the way these things are marketed, in my opinion, I think they are taking advantage of people's scarcity mindsets, knowing that not everyone is going to put in that performance. Now, yes, if you go do the work of these programs, could you too have those results? You could, but we know going into it that most people aren't going to do that. So at the end of that, you're going to have people who come in with a scarcity mindset who are more demoralized at the end of it. And some of these aren't sustainable. Some are sustainable, right? Some people put together programs that are like, hey, let's just kind of give you a boost. This is kind of like a launch pad program, which is great. And you know what? Then market it that way instead of these little spurts like crash diets. Like, hey, Garrett, you too can lose 30 pounds in 30 days if you just follow my diet, which is completely not sustainable and might kill you. But you know what? You're going to lose those 30 pounds in 30 days.
You're going to look good.
Anyway, is that a proper?
You did great, man. You did a wonderful job. So I think along these lines, this has been being done for years. Offices have had a agent or somebody in the office that has done an incredible amount of business. This has been happening in companies for years.
Oh yeah,
where somebody has an incredible month selling widgets wherever around the United States. And they go, hey, would you come in and talk to the office? And what they do is they take that agent and they put them up on their shoulders of the salesperson and they prance them around the meeting going, look, you too can do this. If he can do it, you can do it too. If she can do it, you can do it also. Like, let's go and do this. And the interesting thing, like in an office setting or a company setting, very easily you can turn to your partner in that moment when you're not being sold anything. You're just being told, be like that person. And you can be like, I never want to be like, I'm never going to do that stuff. I'm never going to show up like Samantha because Samantha has this about her that I'm not that person. I don't want to be that person. That's okay. Now, it's interesting. These get rich, like, I mean, I was on my phone this morning. $1 million month was something that I saw pop up. I have no idea who was offering it. I just saw somebody was offering $1 million month class. There was another one.
Yeah, not related to real estate necessarily.
I don't even know what it is. I think it was a different type of something out there, but you can have $1 million month. There was something else that popped up, which was, $100,000 months. There's all these things. And so it was funny. I got hit with this. Matt brought it up as like, this is an issue that's starting to pop up out here. I'm like, that's really funny, Matt, because I was thinking it as I was getting ready for our call today. Here's the interesting thing. The get rich plan in these things that are being offered has nothing to do with you. The person that's getting rich is the one preying off the people that are in scarcity mode. So just for perfect clarity for everybody out there, think about that. All these things, you too can make all this money. They are offering this because, yes, there is a path that's here. And we're going to break this down a little bit more about like what these paths can sometimes look like.
Yeah.
But keep in mind who the one who's really trying to get rich. It's a business model. It's an opportunity for someone to say, hey, I can create this package. All these people will pay for it. And I'm going to take that money to the bank. It's not a long-term plan even for them. This is not a long-term plan. These things won't be around in 6 months of here, come and do this again. We're going to be cranking through it again because we have all these people making $1 million a month. It's not the way it works. It's a short blast and then they're out and they're the ones making the money.
Yeah.
So,
well, the timing of the year makes a lot of sense, right? These programs, and this is all marketing. And I should say, we don't know the content of all of these programs. Some we do. And so if you're someone who has signed up for one of these programs or maybe runs one of these programs and you have great intentions and all that stuff and the content's great, awesome, great. Then maybe we're not talking to you. However, it does seem interesting that end of July, August, these programs come out. They're going to be gone in the next quarter because then it's time for business planning and setting up for the next year. And you're going to see those come out, and you're going to see that come from Ninja as well, because we do that every single year. And that's good and business planning programs are great too. All the offices are going to do it. And maybe we should stick to like what offices do and internal companies we've seen happen, because maybe that's more relatable to most people. Business planning versus earn this much money in this period of time seems more sustainable, right? And you're not necessarily, because earn this much money in this much time is a marketing thing, right? It's strictly a marketing headline. You could take that same content if it's really good and rebrand it as something else. And maybe you don't get as much click-throughs as the person hosting it, right? Maybe it doesn't attract you as the realtor because you're like, well, that's just not as exciting to me. But is it something that you can then build a sustainable training program? I mean, you could rebrand Ninja Selling Installation, Garrett, as make $1 million a year, right?
Yeah.
You could do that. And people are like, oh, wait, I can make $1 million a year. Or you could just still call it Ninja Selling because it is a sustainable system that you can deploy year after year after year. And maybe some of these short-term challenges are things you can deploy year after year after year. Only you are going to be able to decide on the content. But if you are like, ooh, I'm attracted to that, there is an analysis that you need to do in your own business first. And I think maybe this is kind of the whole point of this all is, if you're being attracted to money here. Let's evaluate our business first and understand where we're at, why we're looking at that, and what do we really need to be doing in order to get to where we want to be. Does that make sense, Garrett?
Well, yeah, and Matt, you started this down by health also. So I think there's a couple of different paths here that I kind of want to look at because
For sure.
when you are when you're in scarcity mode, let's just say that you might be carrying more weight on than you want. And someone says, I can get that weight off you in as little as 30 days. All you got to do is take this pill. And they're right. That pill is going to get the weight off you in 30 days. What they don't talk about is the damage to your heart, the damage to your liver, the damage to your, let's add it all in. At the end of 30 days, you're like, oh my gosh, I look good. And even more interesting is everybody around you goes, what are you doing different? Man, you look great. You've lost all this weight. You look amazing. And then all of a sudden, because you can't take the pill for any longer than that, because it says, hey, only for 30 days, by the way. Only take this for 30 days, no longer. Like, that's how long you could take this for. And the reason they say that is because you will die if you take it longer. Like, it's too hard on your body to take this thing forever. What happens is that now you have damage. Now the weight comes back on, all these things. And you can't just go back and take the pill again. You can't just go back. And this is what happens with a lot of these short-term plans in real estate, Matt, is that, yeah, you can come in and you can hit your database, hit the people you know really hard in all these ways, and you can find hidden business in all these nooks and crannies and little areas over here and little areas over here. And at the end of the day, you're like, oh crap, I can't call them again. I can't stay in flow with them now. Like, I burned that relationship up by me hammering on them for a while, making them realize that this isn't about our relationship. It's only about me finding the next real estate transaction. And now I have a problem. And now we're at the person who's been taking the diet pill for 30 days going, what do I do now? Where do I go from here? So I think that's the interesting kind of path that happens down through this, is that we don't realize the damage that we're doing on the get rich path. Where, Matt, what I love about what you were saying is that it's like, when I look at Ninja, I look at it like, let's get a healthy eating and exercise regimen going for you. Let's do these things that we do daily over and over and over again that just create this incredible, healthy body that's sustainable. We can do this over and over. We can do it next year and the year after that. And all of a sudden, when things change and the environment changes, we can still maintain this healthy body and keep us going. That's the interest. What's one of the things I've loved about Ninja for so long is it's not a get rich quick scheme. You do get rich in the process, by the way. I know a lot of people that have made crazy amounts of money, but it's not a fad diet. These are little fad diets that are hitting out here right now at just the right moment in time. Very smart, by the way.
Oh, the marketing of it is very wise. I'm going to compare to a popular coach out there who has a $100,000 in 100 days program. All you have to do is come to his live event and you're going to get the secret behind earning $100,000 in 100 days.
Matt, what's the secret?
Exactly.
We have to go?
Well, you got to come. You got to pay me.
Do we have to go?
Right? Is the lack of transparency that goes into these things.
We should go.
We should totally go. Well, but let's go back to the other side.
Can we do a live podcast while we're there?
And spill the beans. Oh, here's what's really going on.
Right in the back of the room.
Here's the info.
All right, keep going. I'm sorry for interrupting.
Here's the interesting thing, right? And this is why I think it's really targeting people with scarcity, because we work with several people who make consistently $100,000 every single month.
Yep.
Or every other month, easily within 100 days over and over again. Because if you take 100 days divided by a calendar year, or $100,000 in 100 days over the calendar year, that's about $364,000 a year, right? $365,000 a year, excuse me. We know a lot of people who make that, right? So that clearly is not targeting those people. It's targeting people who aren't there. Now, can it be a boost? Can it be a jumpstart? It sure can. But why not at least provide some insight into what is it going to take? Because this is what I love about how we approach it with Ninja Selling is taking the airplane off is going to require full thrust, right? And so maybe we should call a program like that a full thrust, taking your airplane off. It's going to be tough, right? It's going to be tough. You're going to have to put in the effort. I mean, if you're going from, hey, I'm earning $10,000 in 100 days right now to I need to earn 100,000, it's not going to necessarily be easy. And I feel like these programs make it seem so easy. And so this is why I want to come back to, because I feel like I'm beating up on these programs way too much. Come back to how do we do this as our own individual? Like if this is what you want to achieve, if this is what it is, evaluate your business and your own actions. Evaluate your lifestyle. What do you want your lifestyle to be with your business? Because yeah, Gary, you could take this pill and lose the 30 pounds. And it might be like, hey, you know what? I'm willing to go through some of the dangers and risks to do that. I'm willing to be really hungry and irritable for those 30 days. And I'm just going to section myself off from people and just kind of not be in society for those 30 days. And I'm going to be okay. Or when it comes to business, it's like, hey, I'm okay with giving up on having some fun on the weekends and all that stuff, which might be necessary depending on where you want to go. You have to make that determination for yourself. You had mentioned this to me, Garrett, too. Then this is the risks of certain programs, right? If you depart from something that you're used to doing. Now, if it's a program and you're like, hey, this totally aligns with what I already do, have at it. Get ready to push that, because actually we have on our list of podcasts to do pushing the gas pedal when times are good. And I want to talk about that too, and really leaning in. But if you get into a program where you're like, hey, I can make some money, it's not really the way I want to do my business, you can hurt relationships. You mentioned to me, Garrett, a client of yours. Well, you tell the story, because I don't want to disclose anything that I shouldn't disclose.
I've got two scenarios. One that just happened recently, but from a different angle. But now I have a gentleman that when he transferred over to a new office, they said, hey, we've got this training program we want you to do, and we'd be very excited to have you be a part of it. So he signed up for it. He got a hold of me right away and he said, just so you know, while we're doing our coaching, I signed up for this other program too. And I was like, oh, can you get your money back? I said, like, will they give it back to you right now if you asked for it? He goes, why would I want to do that? I said, because that is going to go drastically against everything we've been working on with your database. It is a very different approach on finding business and locating business. And he's like, okay. And he came back to me about 2 days later. He goes, they won't give me my money back. I'm like, have you done one of the sessions yet? He said, no. I said, and they won't give you your money back? I'm like, which is an interesting thing. As I said, who's getting rich on this? So it's really interesting. So he's got his money invested. He's already going, okay. And I kind of set him up of like, this is not going to be what you think it's going to be, which I might have caused some damage. But what's interesting, does the first session...
You altered his mindset going into it.
I altered his mindset. As I'm saying it out loud, I'm like, damn, I kind of set this guy up.
Should have been a little easier on him.
But so here's what he did. The first session, they had you analyze your database and they had you pull out your top most influential people that you have in your database. And then they had you specifically call those people to basically let them know that they are extremely influential and the level that you see them on in your world and how powerful they are. And then specifically and directly, after complimenting them on how amazing they are, say, hey, I am sure you have other people in your world that are like you, and I would love to be connected with them so I can, help them with their real estate. At which point, the person that he was asking this to, which was a very powerful person in his world and his database, said, don't call me again.
Oof.
So,
ouch.
You look at a situation like that. The gentleman that was doing this got a hold of me. He was like, that's the last one I'll be going to. Yeah, I don't need any more.
Now, I will say, this is obviously an anecdotal situation for us. Is there somebody who maybe made that call and it worked for them? Potentially. We could probably find that person.
That's the interesting thing, is that there is wins in all of this. Like, there are people that are going to make that call and they're going to be like, oh, okay, so here's the flip side of it. I have somebody that I coached, and I'm sorry that I'm not sharing names, but I just can't share names around all this stuff. Somebody that I coached here a while back, I coached her for a long time. She had a falling out with a office, so she had to go and find the new brokerage to go be with. And at that new brokerage, they were pushing a new coaching program. Hence, I don't coach her anymore. Just happened just the other day. One of the gentlemen that I coach gets a text from this person that I used to coach with, but the text didn't come from her. It came from her coach. And it said, hey, just reaching out. I heard you're having a down year. I would really like to show you what I've been doing with this other person to help them create a sustainable business and what we've been able to do and see how it'll help affect your business. Can't wait to talk to you soon. This other person says great things about you. Now, the funny thing is the client that I coached that got this message from this other person's coach sent it to me with laughing emojis all over it. Actually sent the video or the audio recording of the voicemail and was like...
voicemail, not a text message, right?
It was a voicemail, but it was in text when it came to me. So that's why I'm confusing all this. But it was a voicemail that he dropped into a text message and sent to me. And I literally sat there and we were both laughing about it. I'm like, so is this our last coaching call? It's like, are you kidding me? He's like, there's no way. But it's interesting, like how fast in these areas we start grasping for stuff in different styles and different techniques. And, those are those things when you start like reaching out to these two agents had a really good relationship. Like they respected each other. And all of a sudden this agent that's my coaching client's like, what is going on with them? Like, I hope they're okay. Like that they're involved with a program it like changes the dynamics of everything. Plus it makes it all business. When all of a sudden your relationship that you have with somebody, Matt, turns into this mechanical business machine that somebody's like placing the model on top of you, it just feels icky. We've all had it happen to us when all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, you want 5 of my friends that would also be able to use this service that you can follow up with. I'm sorry, I'm not giving you names, but if they do it right and that person feels kind of cornered and they feel like, oh, I'd love to help Matt out. I mean, I don't want to be mean to Matt. Matt's been so great to us through this entire transaction. Okay, I'll give you 5 names. And then I have to call all my friends going, okay, don't be mad.
Watch out, Matt's calling.
When he calls, just don't pick it up. Listen to the voice message, let it go. I feel bad that I did that. This is the stuff that can get created behind the scenes around all this stuff. And it's like, is it the get rich quick scam or the lose weight fast situation? Or are we talking about a long-term sustainable situation? And whether it's a fad diet, Matt, like you brought up, which I love that you took it that way. If I want to take it to I'm going to make my car really fast. I'm going to bolt all this stuff onto it. And the engine's maybe got 30 days that it can handle that. And then I'm rebuilding an entire motor. But man, was it quick for 30 days. Woohoo!
That would actually be, I would totally buy into that.
It was an awesome 30 days.
It was a really good 30 days. Well, so here's my ask of all this, Garrett, and because I think some of this stuff gets into obviously nuance of the system that you want to follow, but most of you are here because you're interested in Ninja and want to follow the Ninja path. Is some of these programs may be fine, some of them may not be. If you are looking to get a jump start, you're like, hey, I'm just feeling sluggish. Maybe this can be the accountability, the shot in the arm that I need to then get up to speed. Great. Make sure you inquire and get the information that you need to understand. Obviously, they're not going to give away the content, and I wouldn't expect anybody to, but what are the expectations? Does this mean that I'm going to have to be doubling down on some things? Is there going to be accountability? Is there going to be support through all these things? Or is it just like hey, here's some actions, go do them, and hopefully it works? And on the other side, if you're somebody who runs these programs, if you're doing this within your office, if you are doing this within your company, make sure you set the expectations for people saying, hey, you know what? We're going to do a sprint. Okay. We're going to do a sprint. And the goal is to see if we can earn $100,000 in 100 days, right? 100,000 in GCI in 100 days. It is going to require a immense amount of attention on a few different things, which we will explain when you come to the program. And there's going to be a high level of accountability through which you'll get if you come to the program. Now, in my opinion, as a marketer, that doesn't take anything away from people signing up for your program because they're not getting the secret sauce. It just gives them clarity of oh, okay, this is something that I think would work for me. Or, you know what? I'm not ready to commit to that because in this next 100 days, I actually have a 2-week vacation that I have planned with my family or whatever it might be, right? That's kind of where I'm at with these things, Garrett, is if we can have clarity and expectation set, then we know what to choose from. And so as a consumer, whether it's a diet or a program or something, just ask the questions to get a full understanding of what is going to be required of you in terms of commitment in order to achieve those prescribed results, because that's really what we want to.
One of my favorite sayings was it's in a movie, and they're talking about a shortcut they were going to take on the way to this journey they were taking. And somebody says, why is it a shortcut? Like, there's got to be something like wrong with the way we're going. And they said, no, it's just shorter than the other way. He goes, if it was just shorter, it would be the way.
Right.
Like, what's wrong with it? Like, what is like, there's something there that is making it not be the way. And I think you got to look at that in business, is that these shortcuts, a lot of times, there are massive hurdles that sometimes come along those paths. And if you're willing to deal with them, yeah, there are successes, there are wins. At the end of the day, like, there's a reason that these shortcuts aren't the way. If it was easy to do that, and that was just something that was duplicatable and replicatable all the time, that would be a way of running business that we would all be talking about and saying, oh my gosh, this is the way to run a successful business. These little short blasts like this, though, they're not sustainable. And that's where Matt and I wanted to come on with all of you today, is say, be very careful when you're building what you're building here, because these little blasts can sometimes do more harm than good. You might get a little win with a lot of damage on the backside. And just be real careful what you're getting yourself into and what you're signing up and putting your dollars into. I would much rather, and this is just because I've been doing this for 20, give or take, a little less than 20 years now, what I have watched, whether every single storm, different marketplace, I know that if you are consistent with a very simple, basic plan, doesn't matter what's going on out there, and you don't sit around going like, oh my gosh, I am in that scarcity mode that I've got to figure out how to make $100,000 over the next couple of months, and I'm willing to damage the future.
And ultimately, isn't it, from a lot of people in real estate, isn't their goal to have those types of results like all the time anyway, right? So here's the best way to get a great education in those things. 3 books that you have to buy. The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
Good.
Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Another good one.
And Ninja Selling by Larry Kendall. Buy those 3 books, read them cover to cover, take notes, do exactly what they say in those books, and you'll be great. You'll hit the results that you want to hit. You'll have clarity onto why you want to hit the results you want to hit. That's all. Just do that.
It's interesting. The very first section of the Atomic Habits book, where they talk about I think it's the British cycling team.
Yeah. Get 1% better in all these different components.
1%. It wasn't like they all of a sudden went out and bought brand new bikes. What they did was they changed. How can we make the tires 1% better? How can we make the seat that we're sitting on 1% better? How can we make the jerseys that we're wearing 1% better? Instead of using our summer jerseys, we do our indoor, or whatever they use, their indoor training or whatever it was. They switched up all these little pieces instead of making some big Hail Mary playbook type of scenario that we hope it works out. Football teams have that where like, oh, we got the Hail Mary situation right in the back just for that moment. This is like, no, how do we become better in all these areas? Atomic Habits is one of my favorite, Matt. I'm happy you brought that up. But that British cycling team is a really good way to look at your business and say, what if my buyer's process was 1% better? What if my listing presentation was 1% better? What if my marketing campaign was 1% better? What if I was 1% better with the phone call when I called somebody in asking them better questions? All of a sudden, it's like, oh my gosh, if I was 1% better in all these areas, my business would be great right now. But the problem is again, we're looking for Hail Mary passes.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, the smaller changes, the slight edge mentality allows you to mitigate collateral damage on the other side, build sustainability. Anyway, we could go on and on about it, Garrett, but I appreciate you hitting on this thing. We clearly both been served up with a lot of different advertisements. And so, I apologize to those of you who feel like, oh no, like I made a wrong decision. If you didn't make any wrong decisions, you may have selected a great program if you're in a program like one of these. It's just make sure you understand exactly what you're getting into.
And Matt, I want to also add in that if you are one of the people out there offering these programs and you happen to be teaching the class and you see two guys in the back setting up a podcast in the corner, that's Matt and Garrett. We just want to introduce ourselves now, and we look forward to meeting you.
I don't know. You really want to fly out and do that?
Dude, it might be an interesting tour.
And I will add this too. Like, I have immense respect for a lot of the people out there that put together programs like this on top of other things that they already do, because I think they're great. I just think that the way these are marketed is inappropriate.
Preying on people.
That's my personal opinion. Clearly, Garrett and I share that, which is awesome. Thank you guys for listening to us rant on this for a little bit. We hope that you are gearing up towards sustainability in your business. And if you need a little bit more information about the Ninja Path, if you're like, hey, I'm new to this, I want to learn more, a few ways you can do that. Keep listening to us, which is fantastic. You can join our podcast group on Facebook, which you just head over to Facebook, search for The Ninja Selling Podcast. You're going to find a lot of people in there who can answer questions and help you along this journey. All of our coaches are in there. Most of the instructors in there, we're working on getting all of them in there too, so that we can have the entire Ninja ecosystem in there to support you. Also, head over to ninjaselling.com, where you can learn about installations. You can learn about one-on-one coaching. You can learn about mastery classes, as Garrett said at the beginning, which is a great class that you can take only if you've been to an installation, because we want to make sure that you have that foundational knowledge in there. And you can learn about a whole host of other things. So, and if you guys have any questions about any of this stuff, drop in our Facebook group, reach out. Many of you have messaged me and Garrett on Facebook with questions. Feel free to do that. Sometimes we miss them if they end up in like the message request thing on Facebook, which doesn't send alerts and stuff. So for some reason, you don't hear from us, like,
don't think I hate you.
Yeah.
If you go into Messenger and you message me, which I highly recommend that you do not be like, oh, Garrett didn't want to respond back to me. I literally look at that.
I just may have not seen it yet.
I look at that when somebody goes, did you get my message? And I'm like, where? And they're like, in Messenger. I'm like, oh, let me go check. I'm like, oh, look at all these messages in here. So I apologize to everybody.
Yeah, sometimes Facebook hides them in requests, and then you got to layer into the spam. So anyway, guys, feel free to reach out to us. We are available as well. And we appreciate all of you for listening and tuning in. And we're going to catch you on the next one. Thanks, folks.
Thank you, everybody. If you enjoyed today's episode and would like more, visit us at theninjasellingpodcast.com.
There you will also find links for more information about ninja selling and coaching. Have an incredible day.